Yeah, we've just kind of started getting up and going with it a little more than a month now, and we have pretty much the whole thing set up, integrated into GitHub, Jira. We've linked all of our major epics, I guess is what you would call them. And so those are like the projects that therefore the teams then are tracking against. And we've deployed out that Slack integration worker bee to all of the teams. So in each one of our teams, they have their own individual channels. So you're able to kind of link up that worker bee app to each channel, but then also to individuals. If I submit a pull request or get a review or get a request review, it's kind of, it's buzzing me to go take action. So that's good. We have, I guess to this point, we use Jira now. We were on a prior project management tool before, and while I don't want to name it out, but while it was a great tool, I think as our team grew, well above 10 and then 15, 20, it was like, all right, some of the, reporting capabilities of that tool just weren't really there. So we're like, all right, like, even though like Jira's fine, like it's the tried and true, it's kind of the 800-pound gorilla in the industry. And so all of us were like, all right, let's just go back to Jira. Like, we all know it. And so we go back to Jira and, it has the capabilities to do whatever you want and all the reporting and customization and whatnot. So we went back there and we were able to get a lot more data out of it from not only third-party tools, integrations into, these automation integration tools, obviously companies like yourselves that integrate with Jira as a premium integration. And so we went to it and we said, hey, let's start pulling data out of it. So we actually used that one integration they have where it does a live sync of all of your, I guess, tasks to Google Sheets. And then from there, kind of use some Excel, Google Sheets magic, and built some of our own reports. And, it was working and it was good and it was okay. But as we then learned about you, I think actually one of your sales guys just kind of reached out, which was awesome. And I respect the game. We do the same. So I was like, hey, this actually looks kind of cool. Like, let's see what's going on here. And so I took the call and it was really impressive of what you guys have built and how you visualize the data. And I think it was a little bit more, I could see it like it was going to be more insightful and more used than a spreadsheet across my team and org. And so I said, this is great. Like, it's not just me looking at some spreadsheet anymore. We can invite the tech leads in. They can view the status of their team's progress of not an individual, a team, or to a specific project. And so that was where I think it was super helpful. And then I think that tool you guys released last year-ish, the Slack integration, the worker bee app, I think that was definitely the icing on the cake for me, where it was like, okay, this is awesome. Like some automated bot that's like, I have some free time, what should I work on? It's like, go work on this. Yeah. I think it's mostly about where the bottlenecks are. And so how can we find the bottlenecks? And sometimes, there's always a bottleneck, right? You remove one, the other one shows up. So I think it's about, okay, where's the current bottleneck and why? Why is this a bottleneck? And is that a individual or team like thing? Like maybe team A is there's an issue versus team B, or an individual A versus individual B. But it also might be the process and also could be staffing and ratios between engineering, QA, management, whatever. So I think that's where it's helped us, I think, see a lot of things, even in this short period that we've been on you guys for about 2 months-ish or so. It was, hey, where are some of the bottlenecks and where on some of these projects that we know are maybe taking a week or two longer than expected, like what happened during that way. So it's more about, we could do, I don't know, I guess what you would call a postmortem, and use some of that data in that postmortem of a project coming to completion, and then saying, okay, what happened here? Oh, this one or two things. How can we correct that moving forward, or keep an eye out and look for early warning signs. So the engineering managers can use that and try to, course correct as we're going to continue this kind of extreme pace of velocity that we're on. Yeah, I think so far the major, in a short period, has been primarily around the worker beat, the Slack integration, because that doesn't just go to me or the program managers or whatever. It's like down to the engineer. So that tool where they're in your Slack, you have that red dot, something pinging you like, hey, oh shoot, I got to go do something. So let me go fix that now. Like I always like to say, I talked about it a little bit in our podcast, but it's like always think kind of right to left in that column, Kanban board kind of thing. It's like, hey, let me spend 5-10 minutes on a code review before I start my next ticket. Yeah, I mean, we're not only using tools like LinearB, but then just really investing in data across the company. I think there's a lot of tools that all of us SaaS type companies use, but then sometimes that data gets in isolation, in that tool, whether it's a CRM or your customer tool or whatever. So like being able to pipe that data into a common warehouse and build custom, visualization data to kind of stitch a lot of that stuff together to get a more holistic picture. So we've been investing heavy in some of the internal analytics. So I think this is just one piece of that is developer, I think efficiency, not only just developers, but product. And like, is product expecting too much? Like, sure, in the roadmap kind of process where we say, hey, company, this is what we're going to deliver this quarter. It's sometimes hard. I mean, sure, the engineers are involved and give like t-shirt sizes, and we all do our best guess at how hard this thing would be. But then, we might overcommit or we might undercommit or whatever. So even being able to have more and more data over time to really understand like true velocity and how far is that off of estimation, so that we can then better predict our roadmap and commits to the front of the house, the business. So therefore, our CS team can better communicate with customers. Sales cannot oversell and go ahead but be truthful to our prospects of this is coming next month or next week. I would say it's without being an analytics expert, you simply plug in your tools like GitHub and Jira, and within a matter of minutes, you get to unlock insights into your engineering process, and therefore you get to take action on that data and help to course correct potential issues. Yeah, I think the engineers at large are definitely using WorkerBee to do that. The tech leads to the program management, engineering managers, they're logging into the dashboard more. I mean, I think everyone could log into the dashboard, but I think in their data and the contributors, no matter what their level is, I think like their day-to-day is probably more important in the WorkerBee, not LinearB. But as the program managers and engineering managers are logging into LinearB on the dashboard, yeah, I think it's from what I hear, I'm not on with them side by side every day, but they're every single week. They're logging in. They're understanding, hey, these projects that we actually have working on, like what's going on with them, who's committing to it. How long are things taking? And so, I mean, while you can get a sense of that on the motion of the tickets, I think that's like very in the weeds. I think it's also good to step back, one level and see it from 30,000 feet and say, okay, they're like things are moving well, but I think we could, make improvements here. So that's definitely right their role. Yeah, I think, probably, I don't know if LinearB reports on this, but maybe I need to go check into that. But I think usage, like I do want to make sure that every engineer has the Slack integration enabled, they're using it. So, trying to understand what percentage of our team is using the tool, that'd be great. The other side would be, I think really like nailing down some of the key metrics, I guess, not only at the organization level, but then we actually kind of I don't know, in a way of like a military brigade. We have like kind of units and then eventual, individual pods. So at that like squadron kind of level, and then the pod level, like looking at the metrics of those, and just making sure that I think the consistency. It's like, I think a lot of times, I mean, even right as a developer myself, like sometimes things are hard, and so you'll have a lot of carryover, or planning wasn't the best, or whatever. And then the next sprint, it's like you make up for it because all the things that carried over are done, and then so it's like you have this sine wave a lot. And I think having insight and consistent messaging of just like improving over time with data. I think the goal is to smooth out that velocity and smooth out that sine wave, even though like maybe the work is exactly the same as it is today versus the end of the year. Nevertheless, the estimation and the planning effort will be smoothed out. And I think that only helps everyone not scramble at the end of the month, or not feel like they have to work 15 hours a day to get caught up on a Friday. And so I think it's like, at the end of the year, if all is the same, at least like people aren't getting burnt out, and people are better predictive. Therefore, I think they can make better engineering decisions. Is like, I know what's going to come next sprint versus rushing this sprint, and like not looking at next sprint. And so therefore I can maybe do things this sprint that might impact next sprint if I have a better plan and can foresee that kind of stuff.